was it 60 on Højlund?
70 mil on Højlund.
That's bad. That's bad.
So for me, I think Saka, if he hits double digits, if he does it again next season, I think then we can start to push him into that conversation.
So Højlund, 38 games, 14 assists, 2 goals, 21 years old. Is that good enough to lead a line for Man United in your first season for Man United?
It's good. It's okay. It just looks worse for me because all the other players ain't chipped in. Rashford's had a dog season. Bruno's had a dog scoring season. Is it good enough for Man United? It's not the numbers that you need. No. You need 25 goals, 30 goals from a Man United striker. But you can't blame him because at the end of the day, he's 21 and he's only played one season of real top 5 league football in Europe, and that was in Italy for Atalanta. And he had dips and stuff. So is it good enough? It's a good start. It's a relatively good start.
What I miss?
The question is Rasmus Højlund good enough to lead a line for Man United? In his debut season, he's had 38 games, he scored 14 goals and had 2 assists. He's 21 years old. Is that, 1, good enough for Man United? 2, should he be leading the line for Man United in 2024 in the next season?
To answer the first one, no. And to answer the second one, no.
See, Jay thinks he's done all right, but Jay thinks the blame shouldn't lie on him. It's basically not been getting enough support from the likes of Fernandes and Rashford. I don't think that Højlund is good enough to be the Man United striker. These numbers, I think, are actually decent for his age, but that's not the person that should be leading the line for Man United. Not a club of your stature.
No, I agree. But all right, if we look at the profile of the player, 21 years old, first season in the Prem, being the first choice for Man United Football Club. He's got selfish wingers to play with, first of all. Rashford and Anthony, those selfish wingers that you'll ever play with. He ain't got someone that can really wants to feed him the ball. And that was the frustration in the beginning. There was plenty of time when I saw our wingers should have passed the damn ball and they decided to shoot because they're selfish. And so, I'm not hearing that.
No, wait. Now, so you missed something, senior citizen. Yeah. Before we was looking at, again, we're not going to go too much into the stats, but stats do tell a story. Bruno Fernandes has created the second most chances in the Premier League behind Salah. He's created 20 chances this season. Højlund's missed the most chances for Man United. He missed 13 big chances this season. So he's getting the chances being created to him. Let's say he puts away half those big chances that he's missed. You're talking about 20 goals. So he's not putting away his dinner.
Listen, yeah. TalkSport came up with they were talking about the Chelsea situation. I know we'll probably get onto that in a second. But if you actually look at, if Chelsea had a quality 9, let's just say, for instance, I don't know, you've had top 9s over the years. So you've had Drogba, you've had actually no. Have you had a prolific 9 since? Have you had the prolific 9 since Drogba?
Diego Costa.
Yeah. So just say Costa was your 9, and you had Jackson, who was your number 2. Because if you look at Jackson's numbers, Jackson's double figures, right, in the Prem. I think he's on 12. So it's not really that bad. What's Højlund's numbers on?
Højlund's numbers in the Premier League are 8.
8. That's bad for even a second choice, let alone your.
That's bad for a second choice striker.
Yeah,
for a second choice striker, that's bad.
Yeah, I mean, and Nketiah's on 6, and he's barely played, and Højlund's on 9. I mean 8. That's bad.
And 26 appearances. That's pretty poor.
That's bad. That's and then forget. And the thing is, people. What do you call it? They shift the goalposts when it comes to stats here, because you know when they say, he's made so and so the appearances. How many starts has he made? Because he starts a lot.
And he's your first choice. He's your number 1.
He starts a lot. I get it, but you got to look at it in terms of recruitment, Jay. Yeah, your club have. I think your last top signing was probably Bruno Fernandes.
It's Bruno. It's Bruno. Yeah, definitely.
You slashed so much money on. You've bought Wan-Bissaka. You've bought Sancho. You've bought Anthony. You've bought I don't know if Lindelof came before or after Varane, Casemiro, like you, and then to go and spend was it 60 on Højlund?
70 mil on
That's
Højlund.
bad. That's bad. That's bad for an unproven. No, don't get me wrong. Sorry, I'll let you speak. I know in terms of the striker market, I know it's very, very thin, and you're buying potential. I get that, but I'm pretty sure with that money, you could have gone and got a South American, no-name South American, for maybe just a little bit less than that. And you know what I'm saying? Like that for me, that's if he doesn't kick on next season, 21 or not, for me, you're good or you look at Palmer. Palmer's come out of a 21 side.
You're good or you're good.
If you're good, you're good, you're good.
Simple.
It's either you're good or you're not. It's as simple as that. There's no we're gonna wait. And don't get me wrong, I'm always one for giving foreigners at least a year. But come on, man, you gotta come on. The only good thing he knows is how to bloody back himself into a centre back.
The thing is, I would say, like, I don't know. I'm not making excuses. I'm just talking about like what I've seen with Højlund. I think when he first came, he was injured first of all. Didn't get the preseason with the team, and we did particularly well. We was all over the place. Then when he came into the team, the level of expectation, the players, the wingers being really selfish, not really playing to his strengths, I think they suffered from that. But once he got scoring, he went on a run of like 4, 5, 6 games of scoring, and he scored in Europe a couple of times as well.
Yeah,
and
5 goals in Europe. Yeah.
Personally, I see the potential in him as a player. I think it's about, as well as his development and his growth and his learning, and I think he's got to do. I think he's got to do a lot of core strengthening this summer as well. He's getting barged off the ball way too easily at times. However, I do think that he has the potential. But unfortunately, when you're at a club like Man United, there's no time. And usually potential is in the wings of great players. Now, in our team now, it's our potential who's leading the line. Alejandro Garnacho, Kobe Mainoo, Højlund. Like, these are players that I personally think Garnacho's been our best player this season.
Yeah.
So for me, it says, I feel like our philosophy's changed a little bit. We haven't bought big in a long time. Bruno Fernandes, when we bought him, let's be real, I knew about him, but I didn't think he was like absolute like top. And then when we bought him for 18 months, he was brilliant. And then like he's kind of dipped and like bit up and down form since then. So our transfer policy has been horrible. Hence why I'm looking for the sporting initiative. And the sporting initiative from Ineos to kick in and see how we are then in the transfer market. Do we have an idea?
They're not buying people. They've said their plans not to go and buy people. They plan to actually bring players through from the youth academy and actually build your own next generation superstar. So that means Højlund probably will be your main guy.
They're building a team of footballing men behind the scenes from a sporting directive. And the thing is, you've got to remember the Glazers are businessmen. Hence why the crazy spending that we've seen for years, without Ferguson's like guidance, there's been so much wasteful spending. Honestly, talk about like the cost of living crisis. Man United ain't got nothing like to do with like they didn't know nothing about that the way we're spending. So I do want to give it a chance underneath the regime from a sporting perspective. I want to see how it unfolds. Like it's going to be interesting, but again, if it don't change now, I don't know how it changes for United in the future. I think this has to be a turn.
Can I just add to something you just said there, yeah? And the reason why there hasn't really been structure at United from a recruitment standpoint, and why nobody's been pulled up in regards to who has been signed, especially from the Glazers, is because it's not the Glazers' money that is being spent.
Yeah.
It's the money that you guys generate from Gary Neville has been putting in it. It's the money you lot generate from commercial wealth or your commercial statement abroad. You lot, even though as crap as you guys are, you still generate more than any other Prem team to date. So all that money goes on transfers. That's why you're able to waste money like that. That's why, because really and truly, if you think about it, if you look at your last 10 buys, somebody needs to be sacked. Somebody needs to be pulled up. No, when you think about it, somebody needs to be pulled up. Because we get onto people like, I don't know, you could say Chelsea, yeah, for the 200 million they spent on Caicedo and Enzo. But you could probably say, no, hold on. You could probably say Is it bad coaching or the fact that they've got 7, 8 year contract? The sell-on value could probably come a little bit later. Who in their right mind is going to spend money on a centre midfielder who's won everything in domestic football? He has nothing to prove. In Casemiro, he has nothing to prove. And you want to triple his wages? Of course he's going to come.
And exactly.
I think everyone said that was a bad buy when it happened. You got one good season out of it.
That's
You got one good season out of
mental.
him.
We've seen this with Man United for ages. Alexis Sanchez was one of them. He. You don't even remember his career at Man United, Alexis Sanchez.
No.
That's how irrelevant it was. Like he was just there for the paycheck. It was so there's been so many players that have kind of cottoned onto this regime. And I know we're not in an era of players playing for the badge and all of that. It's the business. I get it. But Man United have been really duped in regards to these agents making these calls and offering players, and we just biting at it. And now I want to I think Ten Hag's first season of bringing in players, I saw a few signings. I know Casemiro, we brought him in the end.
No, mate, it's been a failure. Jay,
No. I mean, players like Martinez that he brought in, I thought if it weren't for injury.
Let's go through Ten Hag's transfers, yeah? So Ten Hag comes in last year, and we look at your transfers.
Go for
Anthony,
Ten Hag's transfers.
okay, so transfers. Weghorst, loan fee. Can't say much about that. It's a loan fee. Malacia.
Flop.
Malacia?
Nah, that's a good player. He's a good player.
Okay, Malacia is a good player, but he literally, guy's been injured all season.
Where is he?
So he's been injured all season. Is he still a football player?
They don't even know where he is.
Of Barcelona game. He was
Okay, but he's been missing all season.
They don't know where Malacia is. They said he's in a trap house.
He's injured. Reece James all season as well, you know.
This is a weird injury.
Nah,
Just saying. Okay, Martinez.
United don't even know where he is.
All right, so Martinez. Is that hit or miss?
Now Martinez is a very good player. Like, do I think he's a centre back? I still have my doubts, but I think he's a very good player, Martinez. I like him a lot.
Okay, so you're saying that's a good signing. Okay, Casemiro
first season, brilliant. This season, horrible.
Anthony.
First season, he was brilliant.
Anthony.
Poor. Absolutely dog. The worst one out of all of it.
I probably potentially maybe not the worst one. Okay, Sabitzer.
Sabitzer came in and done a little job, actually. He done a little job. He won a few FA Cup games for us. Nearly got us through in the European game until we bottled it and conceded 2 goals. No, Sabitzer was a decent loan. He was a decent loan.
Not really utilised very well though. Amrabat.
Or I don't know. I don't even like that one. Baffles me. It's like
they signed Amrabat off of one clip of him locking off Mbappe, and you signed him off of a clip. Wow.
Let's be real. We know that. We know why you signed him. We know why you signed him. Andre Onana. Is Onana better than David De Gea?
No.
Did you need to replace De Gea? Did you need to spend 50 million on the goalkeeper when you had De Gea?
He wasn't the first position that we needed to sort out. It weren't the first one. We didn't need to sort that out straight away.
Do that. All right. Mason Mount.
I haven't seen him all season.
That's a miss. And you paid 65 million for a guy who had 1 year left in his contract. Rasmus Højlund. We've gone through all these transfers, and these are all more often not, they're all flops. You could probably only name one decent transfer, and that was Martinez, who's currently injured. And what's that?
Rasmus has been good for his age. He's been good. He's been all right.
But
I can't believe this is what Man United have succumbed to.
17 million on a 20.
This is what Manchester United have succumbed to.
This is what it is, man. Hey, Valley, I don't know what you're asking.
This is mad. United have succumbed to. This is pain.
Oh, Jay, listen, yeah. You can get onto me all you want, yeah. You can get onto me all you want, yeah. But the 21-year-old, yeah, that we spent 45 million on is the second top goal scorer in the Premier League.
Oh,
let's not talk, yeah. Nicholas Jackson,
but-
30 mils. He's got more than all of your players. He's got more goals than all your players. So
Yeah,
come on, you can't get onto me. We're not that far behind you. We're not that far behind you.
Look, if we've had a really poor season, what's Chelsea had then? Because you lot,
We are mud brothers.
No, but hold on. I think both teams have had bad seasons for different reasons.
Yeah, we both have
one team has literally changed the infrastructure of the club and just bought a boatload of players. All right, new manager, first season.
Mhm.
Second team, isn't it Ten Hag's third season? Second
season.
Are you sure it's his second?
Yeah, his second season.
Did he join in the summer?
I think it's his third.
He joined last year.
Okay, so this is
what? You won a cup
season.
with him. He won the cup first season.
Yeah.
You guys regressed. You regressed under Ten Hag. You regressed under him. The more control he's had, the worse you become.
We've regressed. Yeah, we regressed this season with Ten Hag, definitely. I thought
So
after
is
the
the
first
question-
season, I was pretty impressed with what I saw. Yeah, we still had the 7-0 Liverpool and all that stuff. We still had games where we just bottled it, but this season has been absolutely catastrophic. How many times have we been in the lead and we bottled it? Even to the point where, even in the 90th, even against Coventry, the Coventry one killed me.
You lot paid them up. You lot. It would have been a travesty if it was Coventry versus City in a final. But you robbed them of greatness because you lot just weren't up for it. You robbed them of greatness. That was a goal. But anyway, we'll get into that later.
So Jay, look, this is my question. Yeah, is the more control that Ten Hag has had. Don't worry. We're coming to Chelsea. The more time and power that Ten Hag has at Man United, the worse it's become. So the question I'll ask you is: last season, was it really more down to Solskjaer was it really more down to? Sorry, it wasn't Solskjaer. It was what's his name? Who was in charge before Ten Hag?
Ranić.
So was this the aftermath of Ranić and the fumes of Solskjaer, or really was it Ten Hag? Because last season, you got to think about it. Last season, you get to cup final, then he gets a pre-season. You give him 300 million to spend, and you look worse.
Right. Okay. So, all right. In answer to your first question, no, I don't think it was the fumes from Oli and Ranić's reign, because the standout players for us last season in Ten Hag's first season were the standout 5 players were Martinez, Casemiro, De Gea, Rashford, and I can't name a fifth, but nevertheless. When he came in the first season, he really improved players. I thought Fred had his best season for us, and I know people don't rate Fred, but I think he was good for us in his way. He just didn't need to play week in, week out. So no, I don't think it was the fumes from that previous regime as to why he done pretty solidly last season. I don't. Maybe I can. All right, I may agree with you on the point of being given 300 mil. And then not knowing what to do with it. He's had to do with very difficult characters in the team. They're still
by his own doing. This is all by his own doing, though. He's the one that chose to go back toe to toe with all these players.
Ronaldo, he had every right to do what he did.
That's his choice. He's the one who had beef with. He's the one that's having the falling out for players. Before he was there, never these players.
Sancho, hear me out. The Jadon Sancho thing. I back 110% with that. And the reason why I do is because when Jadon Sancho was having his meltdown mid-season, our manager decided to send him to Holland for therapy.
How do you know he wanted to go to Holland, though? How do you know he wanted to go to Holland?
And you think about...
He's got a therapist in Holland.
Hold on. You think about managers like Mourinho, mid-season, you're in all 4 competitions. Mourinho's not sending you for no rehab. He's selling you in January. Yeah. So, so for me, the fact he supported Sancho in that moment, Sancho owes him a lot. Now, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes and all that, but all I know is, hello, yeah.
Go on, Jay. Go on.
I don't know what's going on behind the scenes and that, but all I know is Jadon Sancho has been horrifically disrespectful to that manager, because that manager supported him in a dark moment. And he didn't have to. He could have said, this is Man United Football Club. We were fighting on all fronts at that point. So, I'm not having it with the Sancho.
So Jay, the Sancho one we've spoken about this before. Yeah, I don't agree with you. Because when I look at the Sancho situation, Ten Hag goes in public feud with Sancho. He so-called says that Sancho's got mental health problems, so he sends him to therapy in Amsterdam. First of all, we don't even know if that's his own therapist. How do we know that's Sancho's own therapist that he wants to go and see? So then you know someone's going through mental health issues, but then at the same time you're calling them out in public saying that they're not training properly. We're looking at Sancho now. What's that?
But this is after he had.
No, but this is after. So after he's supposed. So you said the guy's got mental health issues, yeah? But then you're then calling him out in public saying that he's not training properly. You don't do that to anybody else. When it's Rashford, we're going to deal with it behind closed doors. We're looking at Sancho now at Borussia Dortmund. Wait, we're looking at Sancho now at Borussia Dortmund, yeah? Wait, we're looking at Sancho now at Borussia Dortmund and he's doing up bits. The only time Sancho's had issues was under Ten Hag. Now, look at the evidence. Ten Hag's having issues with Ronaldo. When have you ever seen Ronaldo's big pub? Ronaldo had to do an interview to talk about how this man disrespected him. Ronaldo said that Ten Hag disrespected him. Varane's fallen out with him. Casemiro's fallen out of him. De Gea's fallen out of him. The common thread is Eric Ten Hag. He's the common thread. He's the common denominator.
I think we need to really judge the each and every promotion that he's had and judge it on its own merits. I do think that he did support Sancho, and I do think the modern day player coming out on social media to express themselves. At the end of the day, when these managers are put in front of a microphone after their team haven't turned up for them, after all the training they've done, there's going to be bound to be some frustration. Now, as we all know, managers, you have to manage players individually and try and basically the role of a manager is to spark these players into life. And Ferguson used to call out players into the tabloids all the time.
Yeah, but that's Ferguson though. That's Ferguson. Ten Hag ain't Ferguson.
So
Ten Hag ain't Ferguson, man. He's not Ferguson.
I disagree.
Difference of opinion, isn't it? I don't really agree with his methods, and I think it's evidence that he's fallen out with so many players. And at the end of the day, it's not working because you guys ain't doing anything. So clearly, his methods aren't working.
Fair. The evidence is on the pitch. But yeah, I'd like to see him given at least another year, at least underneath this new regime. If I don't see any change,
I would too. I hope he stays for a very long time. When your rivals want your coach to stay, it's because they don't rate him.
yeah.
So let's see. Jay, senior citizen, unmute yourself here. Let's get your viewpoint on Arsenal so far. I mean, I know when we first started talking about Arteta, you was not a fan of Arteta. You seem to still be a little bit on the fence of him, but come on. Let's. How's your season going? What are your views on you guys? Your season? Think you're going to win the league? What are your odds?
We're not going to win the league. One, I think.
Why not?
A lot of fans go back to where we had the blip in. A lot of fans go back to when we had the blip in December, but even the greats, when Liverpool and City went toe to toe, there's always going to be that dip. You're going to have maybe if you struggle to win 1 or 2 games, you might have lost the game, you might draw a game, but every great team has that little shortfall. Do you get what I'm saying? But I think I don't want to use the word bottled it because it's not a bottling thing. But I think where we have fallen short this season is that Villa game. I think when we look back on it, I strongly believe we will win all our remaining games. But I also believe City will also win their remaining games, and that's where it's going to come down to. When I look at it, we've taken one of the best teams in Premier League history. You know, we've gone toe to toe with them. I mean, 7 seasons they've won 5 or 4 or something like that. Am I correct? They've won the last 3. Liverpool won it, then they won it before that. So
we won it.
I'm not mad at it. My only thing is that not winning it now is are we gonna keep consistent on the basis of going again next season? Chelsea, of course, are either going to strengthen or maybe get a new manager to do better. United might, you know what I'm saying? Any Liverpool, we don't know I'm sure we're going to talk about that soon. So the one thing is I'm an Arsenal fan. So no matter who comes in, I'm an Arsenal fan first and foremost. Do I like the manager? No, I don't like him as a person, but I got to respect him as a coach. Do you get what I'm saying? He's coming, he's proven himself. He's identified certain players in key areas that are going to help us. Yes, a lot of questions were Declan Rice, this is that. But to me, if we do win the league, for me, he is PFA Player of the Year.
Really?
Yeah. You got. I mean, when it comes to winning those awards, yeah, you got to look at someone who's really made an impact on the team. Like if Foden wins it, Foden has every right to win it because he stepped up when KDB was away, and he really came out of his so-called shell and he showed up. Yeah, you could argue, yes, Saka, that's fine. It's like you expect what Saka's doing. It's like at this stage of his career, you're kind of like it's consistency. You want him to be doing that. So it's a toss of a coin between him and Rice. But would Arsenal be where they will be without Rice? I think he plays a big part in, especially our defensive structure and how we get back into shape. But yeah, again, I don't think we will win it. The only game I could see maybe City dropping points is against
Spurs.
Tottenham. Again, that's at the Etihad. It will be a good game. I don't see Postecoglou, and I don't see it happening. But yeah, I'm proud of what they've done. I mean, it's a shame because I honestly think our fate was in our destiny. But that Villa game, yeah. That Villa game, we're gonna look back on it and say, yeah, that's where we actually lost the league.
Yeah, I mean, look, you guys had the harder running in the second half of the year, and to think that if you lose the league, you lost it by dropping one game, and that shows the testament of how strong Man City are. I mean, we've seen it in Liverpool.
100%.
They lost the league after 1 point, so there's no shame in that. I think you probably should have taken the cup competition a little bit more seriously, because to me, going and expecting to win the Champions League and the Premier League is the hardest achievement there is there. So Mourinho knew, and even Pep knows. Go and win the domestic cups because they give you confidence and they at least leave a kind of a legacy. Like you have another season, you don't win a title, don't win a trophy. It looks like a failure of a season, even though it's not. You got to start convincing people you had a good season, and it's like it's crazy that you'd even consider that this isn't a good season. But you're right. I think City win it because they just don't drop points, and they seem to get stronger near the end of the season. But I think it's been an amazing season. I'm a big fan of Arteta. I've been consistent on it. I think he's a really good coach. I think if he was English, they'd be talking about him as one of the best coaches in the world. We're talking about this man's first job in the
job. Yeah. No.
And he's
I'm
made
not going to take
Arsenal
that away from him.
Contenders.
Yeah.
But I think he deserves more credit. I don't know why people aren't talking about him more in terms of him being a generational coach, because we're talking about this guy going toe to toe with Pep in his first. Like we remember Arsenal you guys used to be a laughing stock. We used to bust joke about Arsenal for years, and he literally turned you into title contenders. Your first time back in the Champions League, and he's doing it on both fronts with the Premier League. That to me is monumental. So big up Arteta, man.
Nah,
and this is from a Chelsea fan.
The only thing that's really gonna burn me bad in this is the fact that we've conceded the least and scored the most, and we're still not gonna win it. That's gonna be painful. That's really gonna be painful because that when you hear that of it's those who win it. Those are the type of stats that they've got. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Not to concede. We ain't conceded away. I think yes. Apart from that silly performance yesterday, we haven't conceded away all season, or we haven't conceded 6 games, or the last 6 games anyway. We haven't conceded. I think it was the last one was, if I'm correct, was it Nottingham Forest, and that was early in the year. So to see those type of things and to still not win it, it's like you can't say Arsenal not good. You just got to concede that City are that good.
It's crazy. I mean, normally you always say whoever wins the league
just that good. And the thing is, that's the level you're going to be competing with. Whether or not are City going to be like that next season, who knows? But that's the level you've got to be.
And also to add to that as well, and you think about all those 2 times Liverpool team came, took them to the final day.
Yeah, it was like 93, 94 points, or was it 95, 96, something like that?
It was 1 point difference, 97, 96, I think it was.
That's mad.
Absolutely serious. Like, they had every right. I think it was one of them leagues that they lost on the last day that I actually thought they were the best team that season, and it was mad. So, like, no, I give Arsenal a lot of credit because, as Bally said, laughing stock back in the day, but. Yeah, this he's in his first job and look what he's doing. He's changed the culture, especially after Wenger as well. especially after
Yeah,
Wenger.
yeah.
That's big.
Yeah, exactly.
So what would you
So then that-
what would you put that down to? Would you put that down to someone who's got a philosophy and the recruitment, or what would you put that stuff down to?
I think
so for me,
Edu's got a massive part to play in it. The relationship between Arteta and Edu has been huge. I know you guys have got your All or Nothing documentary, but I think Edu coming in and the way Arteta being quite forthright, he's quite strong. It came across in the documentary to me, and he's a believer in his ideas. And I think the first sign of him being a really strong manager is when he dealt with Ozil and when he dealt with Aubameyang for me. And I sat down and I was like, that's ballsy. That's quite ballsy, because them two are like, they were two of your biggest players at that point. So yeah, like I think it's basically down to Arteta's determination. He really believes in himself. He's obviously learned a lot from when he was the time at City as well. He's come out really confident in himself, and give Arteta a lot of credit, man. We could be looking at a future Barcelona Spain manager here. We really could.
Yeah, for me, it's like you rightly said. For me, it's the relationship he had with Edu, identifying the right players for his philosophy of football. It's him recognizing there were certain people in the club that needed to go in order for him to move on and create a completely new culture within the team. But for me, outside of those things, also the winning mentality. The guy wants to win. And this is my difference between him and the coach like Poch. Winning, you can see how much it hurts him when he loses. He's obsessed with winning. And to me, the best coaches, the Klopps, the Peps, the Fergusons, the Mourinhos, the Tuchels, they're obsessed with winning. And when they lose, it frustrates them. So they're constantly thinking 24/7, how can I make small tweaks to improve ourselves? Everybody went crazy at Arteta when he was like, you swapped out a great goalkeeper. You didn't need to go and do that. Why have you added these players? Now you're looking at it and you're seeing, look, you saw the difference with having like someone like Raya, who's actually like most clean sheets now. And you're seeing the difference between having a goalkeeper that most people would have said you didn't need to make that change. And you see the difference in those sort of things. It's those small little tweaks, bringing in Declan Rice, bringing in Kai Havertz. We all laughed at the beginning of the season, but those differences, that obsession wanting to win and the details and the philosophy of football is what you need to become a great coach. In modern day football, you can't come with these old school tactics. You have to be obsessed. You have to have an identity, a philosophy, and you've got to be looking to make changes constantly throughout. It's a game of chess.
Yeah, definitely. And I also think, in addition to that, the other signings, like I thought when he recruited Jorginho and Trossard in that January window, so I thought that was a really astute signing. Trossard, Premier League proven players in Trossard and Jorginho, and Trossard is like their Diogo Jota. He's so important. He's a great finisher for them. He really is the glue, Trossard. I love the way now they can rest Martinelli. Martinelli ain't played for a couple of games and they're still winning. They haven't had a recognised striker for since the beginning of the season, and they're still winning. Havertz has stepped up big time. This is maybe the best Havertz you've probably seen at the moment.
I mean, funny enough, he's actually not. His stats aren't even that comparable to his Chelsea best years at Chelsea. So I just think he just fits with the Arsenal way of doing things. But back to the whole conversation about their best player. Me personally, I think the best player is Odegaard. I think for me, if they win the league, it's Odegaard. I know Declan Rice is going to get the headlines because honestly, I think it's because he's English and because the media love Declan Rice. But when you watch Arsenal play, I'm sorry, but to me, Odegaard's the difference. To me, Odegaard is a world-class player. I don't think Declan Rice is there yet. I think Saka's knocking on the door being world-class. But Odegaard is by far, like you saw, and this is like the test. When you look at the Bayern Munich game, who stood out in the Bayern Munich games on both legs? It was Odegaard. The only player that could actually really go toe-to-toe with Bayern Munich. For me, he's the difference with Arsenal. When he turns up here, you can't beat Arsenal. Declan Rice is a great player, and I think him and Partey as a pivot is actually an unfair pivot. But to me, Odegaard's a difference, man. He's just different levels. And it's funny because he used to be called Odegaard, isn't it? Remember Odegaard? Yeah. Odegaard for me, number one, then Saka, then Rice.
What? In terms of our world-class players?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Odegaard's world-class. I think Saka's knocking on the door for world-class. I don't think Rice is there yet. I think Rice is probably at number 3.
Yeah.
But again, I think he's made a difference. But I think he's made a difference because of Partey's injury. I generally think Partey stays fit. If Partey stayed fit last season, you win the league. You win the league last season. So even though he made upgrades this year, and Declan Rice is
Boy.
no different, I think it's his durability and what he's added in terms of his set pieces. But to me, Partey stays fit all season. I genuinely think you guys are good enough to win the league with Partey.
Yeah, because Partey, Rice, and Odegaard was what the midfield should have been. And as you see, what Arteta's had to do all season is, he's chucked Havertz in there at times. Jorginho had a good bit to the season, I think. Came in and he's done all good. So yeah, man. I think players like Kiwior had a good little, like a couple 5-6 games where he was just doing a solid job, just sevens a game, Like, and to me, that's why the squad thing, you've got to bridge the gap between first team and second string and get it really as close as possible. Get them all humming and singing, because that's why Trossard can come on and score important goals. It's because he may know he's not first team, but I'm telling you, Trossard is a sick player. He's like Diogo Jota for you. Yeah. He's sick. He's sick.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Trossard. And to think that Arsenal went and only got Trossard because they couldn't get Mudryk, and now look what the difference is. I mean, it's a madness, man. It's a madness. So I'm guessing you guys want to come and start cooking me now when it comes to Chelsea. So go and have at it.
Sorry, let me just add. Let me just add to what the last thing you just said. No, the last bit you just said, because apparently, from what I've been led to believe, it was Arteta that wanted Mudryk, but Edu was who convinced him to get Trossard.
Yeah, but that's only because we outbidded you guys for Mudryk, though.
Yeah.
You guys weren't willing to spend more money, and we went a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so we closed the deal with Shakhtar, and then you guys went and got Trossard. So truth is, if we never came in, you would have ended up with Mudryk. And I think a lot of people still believe that Mudryk would have been better in the Arsenal system. I think he would have better structure in terms of it's a better organisation to be a part of right now, because Chelsea's chaotic. But also, I think Arteta would have had a better plan for Mudryk and how to use him. I don't think Pochettino really knows what to do with Mudryk. I don't think he could be bothered, personally. And that's why we're not really seeing what Mudryk can be. You see the ability. We know the ability is there, but he needs coaching.
But didn't Frank Lampard say about Mudryk that it's not that he's not a good player or skillful, it's that he doesn't know football. He doesn't know what it is to be like the IQ of a footballer and understand, off the ball, on the ball, and all of that.
Who said that, Frank?
I'm not going to listen to Frank Lampard when it comes to opinion like player profile.
What do you mean? He gave you glory days. What are you talking about?
I'm not listening to Frank.
I'm not listening to Frank Lampard.
Your best days.
I'm not listening
as a Chelsea player, not as a coach. As a Chelsea player, but not as a coach. To me, like you've seen Mudryk under De Zerbi. De Zerbi has explained what you need to do with Mudryk. I think a better coach knows how to use Mudryk. Yes, it looks like he's got poor IQ, but you see moments of brilliance and you see moments of IQ because he plays balls that no one else sees. So to me, the IQ is there, but he's a young player. He needs coaching. He needs a structure. He needs a system. To me, the best coaches are the ones that find the systems that bring out the best in the players' abilities and hide their flaws. And Poch ain't doing that. Poch is exposing everyone's flaws. The only person he's highlighting is Gallagher, because that's all he believes in, is running and pressing, and Gallagher's great at that. So that to me is not a coach I really want to be seeing anyway. So you know how I feel about Pochettino. I don't rate him. So,
but Chelsea,
as you were saying, as much say about Chelsea.
Time to cook.
What does the future hold for Chelsea, Ballo? Because I'm struggling.
We have no future, bro. We have no future.
Right.
Okay, so look, there's a couple of theories here. Jay, I'm seeing this. I'm going to meet you because your thing is still.
Is it still feedback in?
Yeah, it's like a. Can you hear it, Jay?
Yeah, I can.
That's mad.
It's like a.
Okay.
Almost like
cool.
I don't know. All right. So, what's the future hold for Chelsea? So there's a couple of theories about why we are where we are and what the long-term plan is. Supposedly, these guys knew that we were going to get a sanction. They knew that we were about to get a big fat sanction and to get some fines. So this is part of the reason why they've gone in and bought young and given people really long contracts, because we got a transfer ban. We're not buying players for the next couple of years, which means we need to buy young, and we need to have players that are going to be here for a long term. The other side of it also got to do with buyback. Buy players young, we sell them off. These guys are in it to make profit. They're not really in it to really make money. and then to really win. There's also a conflict at the top. You've got Begdad Abali and you've got what's his name, Bowley. These guys have got different philosophies. Bowley's about winning and about buying the best. That's why he wanted to buy Ronaldo. That's why he was happy to spend money on Sterling and Koulibaly. And this guy, even with like in baseball, he's buying big players. Whereas Iqbali, who's actually got more ownership of Chelsea, he's interested in making money. That's why these guys really love the Brighton model. Buy players young, sell them off, make a bit of profit here. That's why we're getting a conflict in terms of our transfer strategy, why we've got this whole model of trying to go young and buy players for the future. It's a poor philosophy. And then you've got sporting directors that don't really know what they're doing. These guys are from Brighton. They don't have a history of winning. There's no winning DNA. You look at what you guys did. You went and got Man City's top guy. That is what you do. When Abramovich first took over, what did he go and do? He went and got Peter Kenyon, Man United top guy. That's what you do. When you really want to install and create a winning culture at a club, you go and get the best. You look at Man City. They went and got Barcelona's top guys. Who do we go and get? Brighton's top guys. Does that sound like a club that really wants to win? That sounds like a club that is interested in making money and being a mid-table club. And look what we are, a mid-table club. So in terms of our future, I have no idea what our future is. Our only hope is that I have no hope. I'm sorry. My hope is that we get rid of our sporting directors. We bring in someone who knows what they're doing, and they get rid of Pochettino, and we rip up this whole philosophy of buying young and bringing some experience. Get rid of the players that are just not good enough, and by some miracle, we might get back to where we were before.
From my perspective, and to elaborate on that, I think what has been very interesting for me is that I always say Chelsea were one of the first clubs to do the whole billionaire takeover, and it actually was relatively successful, really successful, actually. So I always kind of, despite you guys not being able to be very consistent with your winning of trophies, I know when you had your poor season, the next season you'll come back. I always knew that. So I think
It's Abramovich, that's the difference.
Yeah, it's Abramovich. And I think Chelsea fans, from my perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think in part, despite you guys, in Abramovich just buying players, kind of like the cattle kind of system where you buy players, chuck them, you were relatively satisfied because you won trophies. However, I can't, with your philosophy now, as you say, there's so many conflicts of interests. My thing is, you've gone young, and you've obviously got this 2030 regime that I've been reading about, and you're trying to instill in the club. Now, for the second season running, you finished really lower than you should be finishing. Facts. It gets to a point with a big club that it's like, well, what are we going to do to change this? And because you've invested in youth, and that is the philosophy, for me, you need some 25, 27-year-old bracket players who have still got a ceiling to grow, but are good enough to come in relatively right now and make an impact. I see, like a mate of mine told me the other day, Kovacic, why you sold him to City, I don't know, because
he wanted to leave. He didn't want to sign a new contract.
Okay, well, there
was a lot of players that wanted to leave though.
Okay, so those kind of characters, my point is, when I watch Chelsea Football Club, I see a team that are so disjointed because they don't understand their place yet in this team. The characters haven't come out necessarily and showed character, and like you can't really pinpoint to one player and say, okay, he's got balls, he's showed character. You might have seen it in spits and spurts, but it's not consistent. But with young players, you don't expect consistency. So it's kind of like, I don't know how you fix this problem, because you've gone for youth.
The coach needs to go. Like, I get what you're saying about bringing in older players. Yeah, to me, if you get rid of the coach, that's the first problem, because we need a coach that has an identity of how to play football. Everything you just said about how we don't look like we know what we're doing, players don't look like they know their roles, it's the coach. The coach hasn't implemented a strategy because the coach doesn't have a strategy. His only style of football is so outdated. It's press, counter press, and then create chances and score goals. Play vertically. He's got no answers for anyone that comes up against that. And in 2024, when you look at most coaches in the Premier League, they know how to do that. Most coaches in the Premier League, the standard is high. These guys know how to create schemes to like block your best players, yeah, and they make changes in game. If you can't adapt and be flexible in game to make challenges and make changes, we're going to get battered. And that's what's happening because Poch don't have a style of football. You saw it at PSG. My man was playing Messi in central midfield. Then he was playing Messi right wing at the age of 34 years old. The guy don't know what he's doing. This is the first PSG coach in like 10 years to fail to win the league. So I'm supposed to believe this guy's going to do something for me at my club when he's in the Premier League for 10 years, not win a single trophy, not even a Carabao Cup. Come on, get out of there.
It kind of reminds me of, I'm not saying you're Spurs, I'm just saying it reminds me of the way Poch plays. It reminds me of Spurs. Like, for instance, Sterling. We all know Sterling is a tap-in merchant, and obviously not every team can play in the way Pep plays. However, why you're playing Sterling on right wing to take on the full as if he could get past, or Sterling runs into traffic like Rashford. He does the same thing. He runs into traffic. They need to be on the finishing end of moves. They don't need to be really in the build-up with team play. I've seen it for years. So, yeah, Poch. I remember watching a game with you guys this season. Can't remember which one it was, and I just remember you lot going down the wing and just not really looking like you got the idea. You get to the wing, you pass it back. You hope Cole Palmer's free to create something. He's your real player. He's brilliant.
He's a gem, man. He's a gem. Yeah. No, for me, Gareth Poch should change it. But also, I also want to highlight this whole myth about like we keep on hearing it's a young squad, it's a young squad, it's a young squad. I want to remind people, that when Arteta challenged for the title, Arsenal were the second youngest club in the Premier League
last season.
So he was second youngest club in the Premier League.
We were the first.
You were the youngest. Okay, so you were the youngest team in the Premier League last season, yeah. But you guys were able to challenge for a title. This age thing is a myth. If you're good, you're good. And
listen, I said this so. Sorry, let me let you continue. I want to add to that.
No, it's true. If you're good, you're good, yeah. And Poch keeps saying it's a young team, it's a young team, it's a young team, yeah. And they start buying into it and start making excuses for themselves and start saying, "Oh, we're a young team, therefore we can't actually succeed." But if I go through some of these players, in our team, and look at the ages, our goalkeeper Sanchez, 26, Disasi, 26, Chalobah, 24.
Disasi's 26.
Wow. Disasi's 26.
I thought he was younger than that.
27. Ben Chilwell, 27. Cucurella, 25. Reece James, 24. Who are these young players we're really talking about? Gallagher, 24. And Nkunku, 26. Sterling.
Gallagher's 24.
I'm telling you, bro, like, who are these players that we keep saying are young? It's a young team. This is a generally balanced team. Obviously, we need players that got more experience seasonally in terms of having done stuff. But don't give me this, they're young, they don't know what they're doing. Bro, you're a coach. When you're good, you're good. Cole Palmer, first senior season in the Premier League, second top goal scorer. When you're good, you're good. End of.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. Listen, if you're good, you're good, man. If ballers recognize ballers. Yeah, there's different tiers. I said there's a 5 tier. There's different tiers, yeah. But when you want to put your name in amongst greatness, yeah, Mbappe was 16. He put his name immediately amongst greatness. If you're there, you're there. Yeah, there's only so many can hit that number 1 bar. Obviously, with Ronaldo and Messi, I'd probably give them another year. But even though they're in America and Saudi respectively, the new generation are going to hit that number 1 bar. But you also got to say how many are going to hit that number 1 bar. But right now, I could probably just say 1 right now. I think Mbappe is on his own right now, unless you guys want to throw someone else. I might be forgetting someone. There's a lot that is at the number 2 bar, and there's plenty that's at the number 3 bar. But the bar, certain greats have set the bar high. It's either you can reach it or you can't. It's not a problem, but you just got to know your level. It's as simple as that. Do you know what I'm saying? Cole Palmer has come in from under 21s. Okay, he's played maybe drips and draps of. He's been in and around. Okay, he's trained in and around the first team. A lot of players have trained in and around the first team. A lot. They train in and around the first team every day. But there's only so many that can come. Who would have thought, that this kid they bought you don't want to call him a City reject because he's technically not. But you've gone to the City's under 21s and bought 40 million pound player,
45 million, yeah.
And he's now coming and he's scored 50. Even if they say he scored 9 penalties, so what? You got to have balls to do that.
Yeah,
he's not missed a penalty this season. He's not missed a penalty this season. He's not missed a penalty this season.
He's got all 9 away. Do you get what I'm saying? So when you look at that from a recruitment standpoint, yeah, you spunked a lot of money, but that's a plus. Now I look through your team, yeah, and I think where do you need to change to take yourself to the next level? Before I come to that, I think before I come to that, I think the issue Chelsea are going to face going into next season and the next coming seasons is that I don't know. For one, maybe you can touch on it, Matt. I don't know why. I think you said already with the FIFA. I don't know why the contracts are so long, 7-8 years. And you got to think of it now. You've given a 21-year-old a 7-year contract. Brother, I can have 2 or 3 crap seasons and you can't do nothing about it. I can peak when I'm 24. There's nothing you can do about it. You're going to loan me out. Loan me out. You're still paying me the same money. You know what I'm saying? Whereas after 2-3 years, I'm sweating, damn, bro, I've got a year left. You know, I got to play for a new contract. This is Chelsea Football Club. Do you get what I'm saying?
And to add to that as well, sorry to cut you, to add to that, people forget you're buying potential. There's no guarantee at the end of that. And so as much as you've decided to collectively buy a lot of players with potential, who knows which one's going to come good? Now, Cole Palmer's hit the ground running. You know, that's 1 in a mil. Do you know what I mean? Like, but who said Mudryk was going to come good? Who said all the other ones are going to come good? And that's where I think it falls down, that concept, because football, you can't wait 6 years for this potential to come good. This is Chelsea Football Club. Do you know what I mean? And so, yeah.
Yeah, look, I agree. I think it also depends on what your plan is. And I think I alluded to it before that a lot of this is potentially got to do with us getting a transfer ban, which is why you put these players on long contracts. But some of the clauses that these players have also, where they don't make as much money if they don't perform. So not making in Champions League, not hitting some of these different things means they don't make as much money. So it comes down to your ambition. And when you think about how much you pay for some of these players, you look at someone like Madueke, 20 mil we pay for Madueke, yeah. He has one good season. Someone comes in and buys him for 40 million. You made your money back. Even if it was 8 seasons, he needs to have one good season for us to sell him. And out of all those players you bought, if half of them come good, you're happy. So I think these guys are gambling. I think they've gone, okay, let's try it out and see what happens. If one player comes good, like you look at Cole Palmer. If we were to sell Cole Palmer right now, let's be honest, Man United come in and they'll pay 100 million for him.
Yes,
he's English tax. We'll make our money back on him. We can go buy another 5 kids. But to me, it's never been done before. No one's ever done it in this way. I think it's stupid. But I think squad-wise, I generally believe that the squad is good.
You need to edit that bit out, by the way.
Which bit?
Yeah, you just said you got my 5 kids. That sounds a bit mad. That's what
we're doing. That's what we're doing.
We'll go buy 5 young players. No, it's true though. It's true.
We've been buying kids, man. That's what we've been buying. But to me, I think the only thing the squad is missing is probably one top-class centre-back to replace Thiago Silva.
Agreed.
We do need a goalkeeper, even though I do quite like Petrovic, but we do need a proper goalkeeper and a striker. I like Nicholas Jackson, but he's not the guy to lead the line. Go out and buy a proper striker. How do you spend £1 billion and you don't buy a world-class striker? Come on,
do you think you suffered from? Sorry, Citizen. Do you think you suffered from not having a fit in Nkunku? Because I was waiting for him. I think he's a bad.
Not a striker. He's not a striker though.
Okay.
And yes, I like him a lot, but the fact is, when he was here and he was fit, like Poch didn't know how to use him. So to me, if everyone's fit, we have a good team, and I think we should be knocking on the door for top 4. But we still didn't actually buy a striker because Jackson ain't a striker. He plays off the left. He can play a striker, but he's not the guy to lead the line. He's had no competition. Broja, I don't think we'll ever see Broja coming back. But we bought all these random guys. David Washington, he's paid 20 million for me. We never seen him play football. We David Datro Fofana, my man playing at Burnley. Like, what we really doing here?
You got someone called Santos as well.
Santos, he's a central.
Yeah, can we get a work permit?
Forest. I mean, I don't know what we're doing.
He couldn't get a work permit or something like that.
No, the plan was never really to play him because he's at Nottingham. He was at Nottingham Forest, and then he weren't playing, so we called him back, and then we sent him over to Strasbourg, I think, and he's not even playing. We got our squad sizes are coming. Our squad sizes are ridiculous, man. We just bought the next young South American baller in Empires. Like, the squad is ridiculous. We still got to get rid of Lukaku. We still got to get rid of Ziyech. I mean,
but when you look at that, and I think Frank alluded to it as well, and it was a problem. So you see, when a manager goes in into training, he knows he's got like a set 20 players that he's gonna trade. He's gonna train 15 to 20 players. No, about 20 players he's going to train with every day in terms of when it comes to shape work, when the defense are working and then the attack, and then they come together, play little small-sided games. He knows the set amount of players he's going to be working with day in, day out. Might say, yeah, call up 1 or 2 under 23s, one not. But when Poch comes in and he's got like about 30 players, maybe even more at training every single day, it's like, does that help him in regards to cohesion with the team in terms of picking a consistent 11 every week? Obviously, injuries hasn't helped. I mean, I think you could probably say Gusto's played more games than he should have been. Cucurella, I'm sure. What do you call it? You probably didn't even want to see what Cucurella on the pitch ever again, because I think he's just shocking. He wasn't even that great at Brighton, but even so, my thing is, with a fully, just say pre-season, you get every player back. Yeah, and there may be another window depending on who's brought in. Is Poch allowed at least the first part of the season?
No, I want him gone at the end of the season. I've seen enough. I don't need to see anymore. For me, if you give this guy any more time, what happens is he flops again next season, and then a new manager comes in and says, "I never had a preseason." We basically just wasted a whole season. Get rid of him at the end of the season, bring a new coach in, let the coach have the whole summer, get a new medicals team in, and fix these players that have just been broken all year long. We're averaging 10 injuries consistently throughout the whole season. So even though we've got a big squad of about 30, 34 players, we've got about 10 players who are constantly injured. So to me, he's got a core group of players to work with. And when we look at the players he's had for most of the season, that's his core. Enzo's been fit for most of the season. Gallagher's been fit most of the season. What's his face? You've had
Caicedo.
Jackson's been fit. Jackson's been fit most of the season. Caicedo's been fit most of the season. You've had your spine. You know, Gusto's been playing at right back and he's been doing really, really well. He's been one of our best players. Madueke's not been injured most of the season. He chose not to play him. He's only really playing him now. Cole Palmer been fit all season. So the whole injury thing for me is a wash, because you've had a core group of players that you can work around and build an identity. When you had a fully fit team, you didn't know what you were doing. You were misprofiling players. You're playing Enzo at number 10. You're playing Chilwell at left wing. You're playing Levi Colwill at left back. You're playing Disasi at right back. Come on, like, what are we doing here? This guy don't know what he's doing. He has no idea. He needs to go.
Just end it on that note. Just say he goes, who would you like to see come in?
I mean, Abbas asked me this before. Like, the guys I wanted to come in aren't available. I wanted Enrique. I wanted Nagelsmann. But Nagelsmann said no to us because he said that our philosophy was a joke. In terms of who's available right now, to me, I'd probably say De Zerbi is probably the best bet, because I think he's worked with some of the players we have. He's worked with some of the players we have before, and I think he can get the best out of them. Right now, I want to play good football. And I want to utilize and develop these young players. And I look at someone who knows how to develop players and has worked with Caicedo, Levi Colwill, Mudryk. He's worked these players before, so he'll bring the best out of them. So that would be my choice. I know a lot of people are talking about Amorim, but I haven't really seen much of his football. And for me, my choice would be De Zerbi. Obviously, we can't get Tuchel back, but De Zerbi.
Jay, hit us. What are you saying?
Oh, what, for Chelsea?
Final thoughts.
No. Your final topic. Go on.
Oh, whether Saka's world class.
No.
Whether Saka's
you know what?
world class.
You don't think it's okay? So give me your world class definition.
Right. Well,
He's not
in his position, world class definition for me, I'm looking at my winger to be contributing goals, creating goals, and being the difference in top games. Now, Saka is a very good player. I'm not even disputing it. People forget he's 23, isn't it?
Yeah.
So people forget he's 23.
22 years old.
He's 23 in September.
22 years old, and he's
years
good already. So credit where credit's due. I don't want to make out like the young lad is bad or anything. But I've heard the debate whether he's world class or not. For me, he's not just yet. And I think there was a game recently which really proved that, and it was Bayern Munich away. When you look at the players that come in, wingers, and you look at the great wingers of our generation and our time, you can sit there and say, well, in certain games, top level games, they've been the difference. Ian Robben, you could say Frank Ribery, plenty of others. I don't think Saka's there yet to call him world class, but I do think he's a very good player. And like Bally said earlier, he's knocking on the door. But I think from my perspective, and maybe Citizen, you can kind of elaborate on this. I think Saka's got to use his physicality a lot more, because I think he's quite strong. I don't see him physically bursting past fullbacks or gripping up a fullback and getting him out of the way. He's got the skill, he's got the agility to do it, but I've seen when he comes up against someone that's quite physical, he looks a little bit inferior to me.
One thing about
22.
One thing about Saka is he's not your nimble type winger, and I'll disagree when you say in terms of strength, because the way he rolls defenders, he's very, very smart, and his IQ is quite high. All right. Now, when you look at what would you call him, a right winger? He's a right winger, tucking in. There isn't many at that high level. I think Salah's probably the best of the best. You've got a lot. I mean, when you look at, you got someone like, you got Saka in the Prem. You got like someone like Saka, Elise, Jared Bowen. If you can,
I'd say Son left
yeah,
side, right side, Son.
Some places.
Yes, and then, but if you go abroad, you've got people like what, Rafinha, Dembele, maybe Leroy Sané, Rodrigo. You know what I'm saying? So there's not really many. So you could say he's not that far behind. My only thing is that for him to be classed as world class, yeah. Some will argue he played as a second striker or inverted striker. Some will say he played out wide. But the bar has been set really high on that side by Mohamed Salah. Now, when you look at Salah, from the minute he stepped foot at Liverpool, he's hit double digits every season. And I'm talking high. I think about 3 or 4 seasons he's been in the 20s. Now, of course, we can talk about stats, and stats isn't everything. Well, no, in regards to attacking players, stats is everything. Do you get what I'm saying? They're the ones who win the game. That's where the money, you know what I'm saying, the money is spent. You get what I'm saying? So when you look at Saka, I think Saka's in his 4th full season. People are forgetting. He burst into the team at the 2021 season, the COVID season. That's when he burst in. So he's in his 4th full season now. Last season, I think he got 15 goals. Season before that, he got 11. He's on 15 now. So he's making way there. The only issue with Saka is that with Salah had for 5 seasons, he had the help of Mane. He had the help of Firmino was a big help for him. Do you get what I'm saying? So his work rate wasn't. I mean, how many times did you see Salah track back? Salah didn't need to track back. His game was there. But I think where our system is a little bit different. Saka has to chop and he has to do both things, both ends. So he's exerting more energy. Whether that will stop in terms of maybe, I don't know. Again, that's why a lot of people said Salah played as like a second striker, because Trent was able to whip in them balls and he had a lot of space down the right. But when it comes to being world class, and I think we throw this world class a lot. Even I think someone said Cole Palmer's world class. I'm thinking, chill out. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, you got for me, being world class, you have to do it at least. It's got to be a consistent, at least 3-4 seasons minimum. You got to do that.
For world class,
I don't really care about international. I don't really care, because you could be great and play for a crap country. I couldn't care less about internationals unless it's at the World Cup. I couldn't care less for Euros or AFCONs. I don't care about that stuff. But for your club domestically, in the domestic league and the Champions League, it has to be setting a high bar for at least minimum 4 seasons. And then now we can start to say, oh, you know what? Because again, Mohamed Salah, we're calling him world class. He plays for Egypt. He's done, I think, no one cares about the AFCON. No one cares about that. Do you know what I'm saying? But from what he's done on that side there, he's set the bar. And then if Saka can get to, did we call Salah world class 2 years ago when they won the Premier League?
Yeah, since People were calling world class before they won the Prem.
Before that, okay, so that's at least 4 seasons then. Do you know what I'm saying? They're saying the 7th season. So for me, I think Saka, if he hits double digits, if he does it again next season, I think then we can start to push him into that conversation. But until then, I think he's top. He's in that second tier. He's definitely in that second tier, but he's not in that first tier yet. No chance.
Yeah. He's top end.
One more season.
He's top.
One more season. I think it's quite harsh though, because where you have to think, and I agree with everything you said. When we look at who's better than him in the right wing position, it probably only really is Mohamed Salah. If you looked at any other position, we said, what's world class? You should be the best player or the top 3 player in your position.
In your position, 100%.
And he actually is, but you're right. He needs to do it one more season, and we need to see him do it in the Champions League again.
Champions League, I think, that's where you got to
consistently show you are the best.
Yeah.
Salah set the bar high, but
because if you look at Champions League, if you look at when Mbappe was at Monaco, and he done bits when they knocked out City, Bellingham's kind of doing bits with Madrid, Vinicius, like the young boys. I think the Champions League is where you kind of separate yourself from the rest and say, this year I'm here. Domestically, again, we sometimes we say the Farmers League with the Bundesliga and the French League, and they say it back with us. That's fine. But when you're in the Champions League, when you're in the quarterfinals, semi-finals, and as you said, Jay, those them moments, where you say, "I'm here, let me be the star boy." That's where that world-class statement. Until then, he's the top player, but he's not there yet.
Be fair to me,
I'm a big believer.
Huh?
He'll get there for me. For me, Saka will become world-class for me. I think he'll become the best right winger in the world in the next 2 years. Like, he's got all the ingredients. He's got the mentality. He's got the IQ. He's got the physicality. He's playing at a top club. I think if you get that left wing sorted out, and you've got someone who's constantly causing problems, that takes away the attention. I'm seeing Saka getting double teamed every single game, and
because they know, and he's still doing it. Like, that's what I don't agree with the strength stuff, because he's on it. But again, you got when you're the star boy and you're not getting, and the rest are kind of relying on you. That's why I think we need to kind of have it's going to be tricky, because you got to find a player who's of age but doesn't mind being the number 2, because he's the number 1, and it's going to be very, very hard, because he's 22. Who unless you're getting to find a bloody 18, 19-year-old, or maybe a 20 like a Trossard who doesn't mind coming off the bench, but it's very, very, very hard.
No, you find someone older. Someone who's like.
But a lot of the right wingers are of, like, you've got so many. You've got like Yamal, you've got Rafinha, you've got Dembele, you've got Barcola plays on that side. Gnabry, Sane. Do you take a Bowen, Neto? I'm not too sure. When a man has a knee injury and an ACL, I want to stay away from them type of players. Leon Bailey, Diaby. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, would you want to go get a Mahrez? No, don't really want him. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you want to take a punt on Elise? So it's like what you said earlier. There's a lot of potential, but when you have a player like that who's come through early and has established himself at a young age and is good, it's very hard to now say, right, we want to take the load off of you, but who do you go and get?
And I do think as well, I was saying this to an Arsenal fan the other day, I think the reason why you overplay Saka is because Reece Nelson's too much of a drop-off. I don't think you can rest Saka and play Reece Nelson and get through it. Like, and Trossard don't suit out there. Like,
neither does Martinelli. No one does. So that's when you set the bar high, when you set the bar that high, it's very, very difficult. But yeah, man, we'll see anyway. 3 games.
That'll be your challenge next season, isn't it? Let's go.